First year Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, our first year here on Rehov Sikron Yaakov number 6 in the Beit Knesset of Yeshiva is located here in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh, not too far from the central bus station, so you can walk from there, take a bus if you want, drive if you have a car, that's great. And especially if you're coming from Kutzlars, where we would like to extend a special invitation to you to help us make your visit to Eretz Yisrael and Yerushalyim as enriching as possible, especially in Torah. So please join us here for our shir. This is our first year in, thank you, Nafshi. This is our first year in the morning, 9 o'clock, and we've got breakfast here, cake, cookies, sometimes fresh or canned fruit. We've got coffee, as much as you can drink, and hopefully as much and more Torah than we can possibly learn. Okay, we're in Avos, the first paragraph, the 5th and 6th Mishnahs there. And we're just going to review the Mishnah, and then we're going to go to, we'll review Rashi's Pshat in the Mishnah, and then we'll go to the other Rishonim, the Rambam and the Rabbeinu Yonah. Okay, Yisrael, you want to read the Mishnah first? On page 1, the first citation on page 1, that's just a review of the Mishnah. Then we'll go to page 2 and do the Rishonin's Hezber of the Mishnah. Go.
So which one?
Page 1, the top of the page. Take it away.
Page 1, technical thing. Mishnah Maseches Avos, right?
That's right.
Perek Aleph.
Got it?
Yosef ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalyim Omer. Thank you. The Yosef ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalyim Omer, he would say, Yehei Beisecha Putzuch Ravacha.
The house should be open wide, right? Number 1. Number 2.
You Aniyim B'nei Beisecha.
Right, there should be, the needy should be members of your household.
Al Tarbe Sicha in Ma'isha.
Right, and don't engage in excessive conversation with a woman.
Ishta Amru Kavachome B'Shas Chavero.
We spoke about the one person's own wife, and even more so in reference to the wife of somebody else.
B'Shas Chavero. B'Shas Chavero. Okay.
Kan Amru Chachamim.
Kan Chacham say, Al Kol Zman She'Adam Amar B'Sicha Im Ha'isha. Any time that a person increases a lot of talk with a woman, Gorim Ram is what you call advantage of himself. What's the even Torah? That's a learn Torah. So for you, Gosh and
Yeah, he'll become an owner, he'll become a stockholder in Gehenna.
Time for being perfect.
Right?
Perfectly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what Rashi, the Rambam, and Rabbeinu Yonah have to teach us about this. That's on page number 2, right? You go up to the third citation from the top of the page. Perish Rashi al Avos, Perek Aleph Mishnah Hey. Okay, that's exactly our Mishnah we've just read now. Go ahead, Mr. Go continue with Rashi.
Which one?
No, Rashi.
Perish Rashi al Avos. Perek Aleph Mishnah Hey.
That's it.
Al Tarbe Sicha in Ma'isha. Do not increase a lot of talk with a woman. Afili hi ishtecha. Even if it's your own wife. Lefi she'ata mitzvatel m'divrei Torah.
Right, when he's talking one thing, he can't be talking something else, right? Right? So, if he's talking with his wife, he can't be talking divrei Torah. Now, what if he's talking divrei Torah with his wife? Well, that should be okay, right? Right? Because, again, we would try to emphasize the expression that Chazal using as sicha. Sicha is usually a reference to speech which is like automatic and conversational. It's not something which is in general deliberate and concentrated. And if we have a siddur Let's get some cigar and we'll show you. Thank you, Yaakov. Great breakfast, Mr.
You know how to do so bad. Women like it when their wives.
Yesterday was good too.
Good.
Women like it when their wives talk to them. They're not going to just run out from their wives.
What's that, what?
Women like it when their wives, when their husbands talk to them.
It's very important. You have to talk to your wife. It's very important. Thank you. If you look in my review,
You shouldn't waste too much time sitting on the couch.
you shouldn't waste any time in life. Life, you shouldn't waste any time doing anything with anybody. You shouldn't be wasting time.
Go and say, how can we kill time?
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a very unfortunate phrase.
Where am I?
Okay, this will be in Mincha. We have to get this right here. Mincha, where's Maya? Maya is in the 180s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 180s. Let's see.
The bracha before Shema, right?
Before Shema.
Right, it's on 175. Sorry, 176.
176. Right. Yeah. Right. In Avos Oilam, you have it there in 176? Yeah. Yaakov, would you like to read it to the bracha here? Avos Oilam.
Avad Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Atzah. Should I translate as I read?
Yeah, you can, if you want, it's good, it's helpful. Sure.
Yes, please.
And it,
If you want to get the art scroll...
I'm going to grab it right now. I'm sorry. I just didn't want to interrupt, but if you translate as he goes, I can listen.
with an everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel, your people. Torah and mitzvos and chokim. Chokim are statutes. Mishpatim and judgments. You taught us. Alkein Hashem Elokeinu. Therefore, Hashem our God. B'shachvenu, when we lie down, U'kumenu, when we rise up, Nasiach, we will contemplate and meditate on your statutes, on your laws. And Yismach b'dvarei and we will rejoice in the words of your Torah, and your commandments, forever and ever. Because they are our life, our very life, and the length of our days. Uvehem nega, and in them we will. Actually, this is meditate. And nasiach is talk about.
Yeah, that's the word we want. That's the word we want.
Okay.
Nasiach, right? Okay, so this is a request, right? Because Hashem has given us such love, right? And has given us such His Torah and His mitzvahs, chukim, mishpatim. That we should be able to learn them. Okay, Hashem Elokeinu, we're imploring HaKodesh Baruch Hu, when we lie down, when we rise up, we shall converse. We shall converse in your, right, hukecha, in your decrees. The Yeshiva Shaimitz quoted, if I'm not mistaken, the Vilna Gaon on this. He says, our love for HaKodesh Baruch Hu and our feeling of wanting to understand what the wonderful Torah that He's given us should be so strong that this expression, Nesiach, Ucheka, our common daily conversation should be revolving around the Chukim of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Right? Meaning normally, Sicha, good morning. Good to see everybody. I'll catch you up in a moment. We're learning here in Avos Olam, we're discussing the word, when we say Nesiach, that's our conversation. So we say when we're asking HaKodesh Baruch Hu, when we lie down, when we rise up, our conversation shall be revolving around the Hukim, Hukeka, around your decrees of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. So the Vilna Gaon, if I'm not mistaken, with Scheinberg's, it's on the Yeshiva, always quoted many times, if I'm not mistaken, was the Vilna Gaon in the Siddur Agra, that's, as we say, Sikh is usually casual conversation, right? It's not deliberate. right? Deliberate conversations when you have to prepare something and you thought it out. However, Sikha is usually spontaneous, right? So the point being is that our love for HaKodesh Baruch Hu, or our sense of responsibility to understand Torah is so great that we automatically speak about his cooking. We're automatically in a mode of our normal conversation, right, is in and above and surrounding the cooking the laws of HaKodesh Baruch Hu, the English law, right? If I'm not mistaken, there's a Chazal, Sikas Tamid Chachamim Tzorech Iyah. Sikas Tamid Chachamim Tzorech Iyah, meaning the conversations of Talmid Chachamim require investigation. And it's also the same point, even the common conversations, the daily conversations about what they're talking about, even when they're not in a shir or in a beis din, and they're learning in a formal setting. Nevertheless, their slichot, their conversations are worthy and requiring our investigation. I mean, we should think deeply into the words of the Talmid Chachamim, even when they're seemingly not in a state of teaching or of learning. Right? So Sikha is usually spontaneous and undirected and without a particular goal. Right? It's simply conversation, it's simply talk, right? As opposed to other more formal types of speech. Right? So that's what we're trying to say. A person should not engage in extensive conversation, right, with his Isha Sarai and Kol B'Shomer, a woman of another man. That's when we're learning the Mishnah Avos now. So this is Rashi, just started Perish Rashi on the Mishnah here, right? That a person, we're warned by the Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan, Yerushalyim, Al Tir B'Sikha Imei Isha, shouldn't have extensive conversations with a woman. So as it said, of Ishto Amru, they're speaking about a man's own wife, even more so if it's a person's someone else's wife. So Rashi continues on here, he says, Afilu Shi Ishtacha, even if it's your own wife. Why? The Fi Sha'atim is Batum with different Torah. If you're going to speak conversationally with your wife extensively, right, you're going to be involved with a question of different Torah over here, right? And it doesn't have to be necessarily with your wife or certainly with another person. It could be with a man as well. So we'll try and answer the question, why then did the Tana explain to us in this question, why with the woman? Why did he say al tar b'sicha? Period. Shouldn't don't have excessive conversation. Period. You only have to say be'isha. Why do you have to specifically mention the isha? So we'll try and get to an answer in that maybe through the Rambam and maybe Rabbeinu Yonah. But yeah, let's continue on. Question is, why is the Tana emphasizing al tar b'sicha ime isha with the woman? If it's a question of Bittul Torah, because what does he say? It says, he gives reasons why, right? Because if so, that's what Chachamim say. Any time that a person's going to have extensive conversations with a woman, Goram la ra'as, when he's going to get himself in trouble, right? Number two, bottle from divrei Torah, and the third thing, Yerush Gehenna, we become a landowner in Gehenna, right? And so, if it's a question of just Bittul Torah, right? So then it applies to everyone. So he could have just said, right, Al tar b'sicha, don't get involved with a lot of conversations. But Goram Rala Atzmo, so that's specifically something which is related to a increase in conversation with the woman, and that doesn't necessarily apply with the man. Okay? So we're trying to save you from detrimental things to yourself. And then the second thing from Bittul Torah, which would apply, right, even by a man. But Garam Lara Atzmo, we'll see from Rashi and the Rambam and the Rabbeinu Yonah, these are specific things which you have to be careful when you're involved with excessive conversation with the woman that don't apply by unnecessary and excessive conversations with men. Even though you'll be involved with the Torah, but you don't have the other aspects, the other dimensions. That's what we're going to see from Rashi right this moment. Yaakov, you gotta take over? Start the Rashi again. That's the third I think. Yeah, exactly.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead. Take it.
I'll talk about from.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk about Sicha im ha'isha. Don't increase conversation with a woman. Afilu hi ishtecha, even if she's your wife, lefisha ata mitvatel midivrei Torah, because you're revealing yourself from words of Torah. O she'im ba'at laharvot ima divarim, and if you come, or if she comes to increase with you that conversation.
I mean, this is referring to you that she'im bas laharbas imo devarim. If you're going to come to have extensive conversations ima with her, right?
Taveh l'saper la, you will come to tell her machlokot, problems you had during the day, fights you had during the day, she'asita im achaverecha, that you have with your friend.
Right. So first thing is, if you're gonna go and keep talking, so it's gonna come to a situation where we're gonna start talking about things that happen to you. So Baruch Hashem, Bez Hashem, a lot of good things happen to you, but some things may not always be so great. So you might come and talk about how you got into into a quarrel with this one or a fight with that one. So what's she gonna do?
This is a principle that says that sort of minds of women are feeble.
Yeah, but it's actually it's nonsense intellectually so much, but in terms of their seriousness about dealing with things, they take things more lightly in terms of like attitude.
V'miyad telech, and immediately she will go. Gam hi, indeed she will. V'titkotat, and she will fight.
Quarrel is the quarrel.
Quarrel im chaverta eshet chavercha, and she'll go right away and fight with the wife of your friend who you had a machlok with earlier in the day.
Right. So you're just spreading machlokas. He'll start telling about First of all, it's a shay. It's definitely an Israel lashon hara and rechilas and all these other things. Right. Divri machlokas, but it's going to be goram. It's going to cause that she's going to go and carry the fight over to the wife. You got into a fight with the man, she's going to carry the fight over to the wife. And
it will be that you will come into the hands of contempt. Kach mefarash avot Rabbi Natan, and thus it is expounded in this sefer called the Avot Rabbi Natan, Shehavo me'eretz Yisrael. Oh, the one from Eretz Yisrael. I guess there's two different versions.
Yeah, we'll see the other version, the Tsarfas, the French version will be another pshat. So according to the Divi, the Avos the Rebbe Nassim, which is Chazal, right? These are the reasons why you should specifically not engage in excess conversation with the wife.
And in the other version, Avot Rabbi Natan shel Tzarafat. Mokim ve'ishto nida.
That's referring to what?
It's referring to a woman who's in nida.
A wife, which is in nida, right?
V'kedei and such things.
In order that.
Right.
In order that.
Kedei shelo yava ima alidei avera. Okay. In order that he not bring her into the hands of sin, Venera, because it is apparent de'ape tahara.
De'afilu.
Oh, sorry. De'afilu tahara.
Meaning, we just explained that according to the Avos the Rebbe Nassim of Tsarfas, it's talking about Ishto who's benida. So if you engage in excess conversation with the wife who's in nida, you'll become a little bit too familiar, and you could, has v'sholom, do averis. Right? And now Rashi apparently is adding on his own now. Venira, Rashi is saying this apparently on his own. Appeal to her, even if she's not needed, she's really Torah, meaning permissible to the husband. So even then you shouldn't be mar basika in the ish fight. Why?
Tahara, Lefisha, Levatel, Midivrei Torah, because you're being Mevatel from words of Torah. You're not engaging in learning.
Right, well, you're talking to unnecessarily and excessively to the wife, and it can't be speaking Divrei Torah. So it's Revukal, you're an Isser of Bittul Divrei Torah.
Kol v'chomer ve'eshet chavaro, all the more so the wife of your friend. Shelo Rabbe Sikha Imad, that you should not increase conversation with her. Mipnei ha'chashad.
Chashad is raising suspicions, meaning people will see that you're speaking to another man's wife, right? So people will raise eyebrows and then begin to think suspectingly against you and her that you might have something going on with her. After why are you spending so much time talking to her, right? Just to reinforce the point, we might want to just flip over and do what we learned yesterday, the Gemara Irvin, just to refresh our memories. Take a look on page 1. Right, you have the third citation from the bottom of the page brings down the Gemara Irvin. Yeah, there the Gemara Irvin. Hamud Bavli Masectus Irvin Daf Nun Gimel Amid Beis. Have it there, Makaziel? Okay, want to read that for us if you like?
Rabbi Yossi Hagalili,
Right, very good. Rabbi Yossi Hagalili.
who ke azil ba'arucha
Ba'orcha, very good.
ba'orcha.
Right. Hayek Ka'azab he was walking along the road. Rabbi Yossi Galili he had to get from one place to the next, so he was walking along the road. What happened to him on the road?
Ashachacha leviruro
That's Libruria.
lebroria
Right. So Bruria, right, was a woman. She was actually she happened to be very well versed and knowledgeable in learning. So she was on a very high madrega, and Rabbi Yossi Galili encountered her along the way. That was going from one place to the next.
Just one idea. So could confirm she's the wife of Rabbi Meir.
Yeah. Ashes Rabbi, very good. That's what we said yesterday. Ashes Rabbi, perfect, very good. Thank you, Yaakov. And she was the woman, the wife of Ashes Rabbi Meir. Okay, so Rabbi Yossi was along the way, and he happened to see her walking also along the way. So he Amrla, he said to her, go ahead.
amorlo ba'azo
The Azoi,
ba'ezoi derech nalach lalod.
oh, very good. The Azeder Nelech Lud. Which way do we go to Lud? He was obviously trying to get from one place to another place, and that place was Lud. And he maybe didn't know the road very well, so he asked Bruria for directions. So he asked, in which way do we go to Lud? So what did she say in response?
Amrulo Amrale Galila Shato
Shoita. Galili Shoita.
Shota.
Shota
Galili Shota.
Shota is an idiot. Right?
So she's calling him an idiot?
Right?
Okay.
Call him an idiot.
Lo Cain Amru Lo Kach Amiro Chachamim Al Taroba Tarbeh Shechi Im Secha Im Ha'asha Ha'isha.
She said to him, Lo Kach Amru Chachamim, have the Chachamim not said, Al Tarbeh Sika Imisha, have the Chachamim not said, you shall not engage in extra conversation, in extra conversation with a woman, right? So he was Oiver Divri Chazal. He violated the words of Chazal by speaking too much. Now the Gemara goes on and says she told him, you should have said, right, Ezu Lalud. Which way to Lud? That's it, just 2 words. He said 4 words to her. She chastised him and for using 2 extra words. So we see that it's the seriousness of what's being discussed over here. To just finalize a little bit more, look at the next citation. That's the Gemara in Kula, right? Because this is something which is this is a global attitude, all in pervasive attitude that a person should have. Even though we may not be trained in this very well, but it's an attitude we have to try and acquire. Talmud Babli, this is the Gemara in Kulin, Daf Peites Amid Aleph. Go ahead, Matijel. One more line.
The whole next parak?
No, the one liner, the second one from the bottom. Got there?
Didn't we just read that?
We learned the third one from the bottom. You're on page number 1 still, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So the second one from the bottom.
Right.
Okay. Talmud Bavli, Masechta Chulin, Daf Pei Tes Amid Aleph.
Very good.
Ma Umanoso Shel Adam Ba'olam Hazeh.
The more asks the question, what's the profession a person's supposed to be occupied with in Olam Hazeh? What's the person's occupation in Olam Hazeh? Right? People they can take all kinds of aptitude tests, right? And find out what they have a knack for, what they have a interest in. You can pay money and they'll tell you, oh, you should be in this craft, in this profession. So Chazal are asking the question, what's the profession a person should be involved with in Olam Hazeh? What's his profession in Olam Hazeh? So what's their answer?
Yishem Atzmo Ka'olam.
Ki'ilim.
Ki'ilim.
The answer is a person should make himself like he's dumb. Dumb meaning he's speechless, like they can't speak. That's the profession a person should have in this world. He should make himself as if he cannot speak. Like I'm saying, unless you've heard these things before, or you've been taught these, and certainly if you've been taught these things before, these things like very, very strange, right? Things. Like now, they say the way they sell phones these days is how many sichot you get free, right? They're trying to get 5,000 sichot free, get 5,000 conversations free. He says, well, the person who learns this, that's not very appealing advertisement for me. I'm supposed to keep myself quiet. I'm not interested in free conversations, right? Right? So,
okay.
So this, and there are very good, serious reasons why this is going to be. We'll eventually get to that, right? So the Gemara says, in answer to when the Gemara answered that, the Gemara had a retort. The Gemara asked for clarification. If a person is supposed to, his profession in this world is supposed to be that he's supposed to be speechless, so the Gemara said, Yoichel. He said, you would think.
Yachol af l'divrei Torah.
Maybe a person should not speak even divrei Torah. You're telling me my profession is to be dumb and then speechless in this world. So maybe I shouldn't speak divrei Torah. Is that what you're trying to teach me? The Gemara says there's a pasuk to allow you to speak divrei Torah. What's the pasuk?
Talmud lomar tzaddik tadvarim tadberum.
It's a pasuk in Tehillim. That tzedek, meaning righteousness, you shall speak. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Those words, thank you, Shakoy. Those words which are righteous, those words you can speak. Right? So, and on the other side, if they're not righteous words, you shouldn't speak them. Right? So, so that we can maybe just to re-clarify, take a look at the second citation you have. We'll review this again. Right? What's the definition of Devarim B'Telim? That's on the first page. We'll go to the second citation on the first page. Just doing this as review. there are 5 categories of types of speech that a person can have in this world, right? So, yeah, any volunteers to read this? I'll give you a break, but if you want. If you want to continue, continue. Go ahead. Go ahead, Yisrael. Go ahead. Musagim. Musagim Talmudim. Musagim, musag is concepts, right?
Concept of Talmudim.
Right, Talmudic concepts.
Divine material words of Torah.
So that's, we're now exploring the concept that the Gemara introduces us to of Devarim B'Teilim.
Sichos Chulin. Mundane talk. She'ein b'chem kol tzorech u'tzeres. Don't have any needs or any purpose to a conversation.
Right. So Devarim B'Teilim are mundane conversations that they have no need or reason or goal, no purpose. Okay? That's Devarim B'Teilim. Okay?
B'nikud l'divrei Torah. Which are contrary to that contrary.
Yeah, that's in contrast to Divrei Torah or
Divrei Chachma.
Divrei. Not everything is Divrei Torah. Sometimes Divrei Chachma. A person, like to a certain extent, when Rabbi Yossi Galili asked Bruria, Eza Derek Nelik Lalud, he was asking to know how to get from one place to another is a certain type of wisdom, right? I forgot who, but there was a Rosh Yeshiva the last generation or so. I forgot who it was. But when a person's in the bathroom in Beis Kisa, he's not supposed to think about Torah, right? So you have to do something practical with your time.
Or bring
right?
a math book into the toilet.
Yeah. So this Rosh Yeshiva, I forgot exactly who. He would study the New York City subway map, right? Because sometimes people would ask him how to get from here to there, and he'd be able to tell them. You can take the A train, you take the F train, you take the express from 86th Street up to 81st, right? So he'd be able to help them, right? The Gemara says Shmuel would study the stars. He would study the constellations when he was in the basic Kisei. And it says he knew the Shvili Rikia. He knew the paths of the planets like he knew the streets of his hometown.
Shmuel Navi?
No, not this Shmuel. Shmuel of the Amoraim. If you look at there in your map there, you'll see Shmuel.
I think that's why Shmuel was a mathematician, was he? If he knew astronomy, he must have mathematics.
Yeah. So you have Divrei Chachma, right? And then you continue on Yisrael. Diburim Sheish Ben
Tzorah. Words which have a need for it.
Right.
The Torah and a purpose. Diburim Asurim.
Right. So you have these 5. We can explain further. We can have these 5 categories. You have Divrei Torah number 1, Divrei Chachma number 2, Diburim Sheish Ben Tzorah. What's left? That's number 3. Then you have Devarim Asurim, that's 4. And then you have Devarim B'Teilim, which is 5. Take a look. Harishonim nechalku esedibu lechamesh chalakim. The Rishonim, this is already going back 1,000 years or so, right? That they divided up speech into 5 different categories. 5 different categories of speech.
Right. I need you to straighten me out here a second.
Sure.
Okay, we're in the second paragraph here. Second paragraph, it's listing 5 types of mundane conversations.
No, 5 types of
5 types of speech.
Right there, and this is all under the category. They're trying to explain Devarim B'Teilim, and they're contrasting that with other types of speech, which are not Devarim B'Teilim. Right? There's Devarim B'Teilim and 4 other categories which are in contrast to that.
Alright, so Devarim B'Teilim has 5 things?
No, Devarim B'Teilim is one of 5 categories. There's one category called Devarim B'Teilim, and there are 4 others.
Okay. What are the 4 other categories?
Okay, so you have the line, the second line there, that is Sikas Chulim. You have that there.
Okay.
So.
And let me stop you again. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So going where we just were.
Right.
It says Talmudic concepts of mundane conversations. That's what the first 4 words say.
Well, Devarim B'Teilim are words of no worth, right? Literally, it's words of no worth. Devarim B'Teilim, words of no worth.
Okay.
And that, the definition of that is Sikas Chulin, mundane conversations, she'ein behem kol tzorach v'toles, that have no need nor purpose whatsoever.
No constructive purpose is what,
Exactly.
okay.
No constructive purpose.
Okay.
No constructive purpose. That's number one.
Okay.
Now, in contrast, you have four categories which are in contrast to that. You have Divrei Torah, that's number one, in contrast to Devarim B'Teilim. You have Divrei Chochma, right?
Okay, so Divrei Torah is good. This is what we want to talk
These
about.
are right. That's right. That's
Okay.
That's good.
And we want to talk about Chachma. That's
if you need it, like if you need to.
what's
know how to-
Divrei Chachma? Words of wisdom.
Literally, but it could be anything. If you want to know how to fry an egg, that's a certain wisdom.
Okay.
Right? That's a certain wisdom.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay,
Right.
and so Divarim Shish Bahim Tzorach.
Right.
What does that mean?
So you have Devarim which they have a certain need with Toelis. There's a certain need and
Okay.
purpose to them.
Right.
Right? That could vary depending on the situation. I'll give examples, which I did previously. And Devarim Asurim. Then finally you have Devarim Asurim, words which are Sheker, Lashon Hara, right? Kefira, right? So like as I gave you the example the other day, right, you have this statement, right? Why did the chicken cross the road? Right? Why did the chicken cross the road? Right, so the answer is to get to the other side, right? Yeah.
I love that. I really
Now,
do.
you have another statement similar, right? Why did the elephant climb the steps? Right? Because it couldn't fit in the elevator. Right? So, all these kind of statements, you have a series of words, right? This is it's a question, it's an answer, right? So if I just go up to a guy, let's say I'm in the elevator, and I go up to a guy and say, "Why did chicken cross the road?" Right? And then he looks at me strange, and I told him because he wanted to get to the other side, right? So if that's the only thing that was the best thing that we could come up with as a conversation like that, it's like kind of crazy, wasting your time, wasting your words, right? Let's say I saw that the guy was a little down in the dumps, right? And he didn't want to hear about Rashi on the Parsha. I know if I told him something about Rashi in the Parsha, it'll just get him more down in the dumps, right? So if you want to cheer somebody up, the same set of words can have toelis, have a purpose, and be constructive, right? If you don't have a need to speak them, then it's the Devarim B'Teilim. There's no need in them. There's no constructive purpose behind it. You can be saying the same exact things, right? You could be saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and you could be in shul, right? At the time of Kriya Shema, and you make Mekayim Mitzvah D'Oraisa. If you do that in the toilet, you're over Nissa. You say the same exact words.
Right.
So, if a guy gets a telephone call, right, and he's on the toilet and he answers it, he's over Nissa. He can't talk. He can't even talk. He can't even talk Devarim B'Teilim in the toilet, right? There's a special list. You're not supposed to talk when you're in the toilet, right?
Did not know that.
Not a lot of people don't know it. I remember I was in Yeshiva once. And I was taking care of what I had to take care of. And there was a guy next door to me in the next stall, and he gets a phone call. These days you have phones. You have no rest. Day and night you're chased after by all kinds of people for all kinds of things with your phone. So it rings, and he answers it. And he's there doing his business on the seat there. And he gets over. He says, "Oh, hello, Grandma. How are you?" "Hi, Grandma." And she said, "She must have said fine." And she must have asked, how are you?" He says, "Oh, yeah, Baruch Hashem, very good, Baruch Hashem." Right there on the toilet. So you can't say the Shem Hashem, just like you can't say Kriya Shema in the toilet. Can't say the Shem Hashem. You can't even talk anything of a guy. You're not even supposed to call to a person in the toilet because he may answer you, and you're not supposed to answer. Right now. There are in halacha it does make a difference as to whether or not our toilets are the same toilets as they used to have. In the old days when they had the real outhouse, if you've ever been to a real outhouse, you know what it's really like. Our toilets are really not like that at all. But in general, they're fairly clean, but it still gets dirty in there. And in general, you're not supposed to speak in the toilet.
Okay.
That's a whole nother thing. So you have these situations where the same words could be divrei Torah, could be divrei chachma, could be words of puelis, constructive purpose, or they could be divrei masur, which depend the same exact word. Shema in the Torah is a divrei asur, just what's in the context of a shul, it's a mitzvah d'oraisa, right? It could be the Gorim B'Tailim for no purpose. If you want to cheer him up, the same old silly joke. Sticking across the road is the same old silly joke everybody knows and serves, right? Since they've been 6 or 7 years old, maybe younger. But if you want to cheer a guy up, you have no better joke to tell him. So tell him I heard a great joke. What was that? When did you hear this joke? I heard it about 45 years ago. So, if he needs to be cheered up, he needs to be cheered up. So,
Can we comic books in the toilet?
you have to take look. That's in halacha. You have to bide your time constructively, and you're not supposed to be thinking about things you're not supposed to think about. So you have to divert your attention to things which are permissible. So if you want to learn how to cook or something, or you want to learn how to do take pictures and whatever you want to paint or anything, you want to know how to fix a fluorescent light bulb, so you can read a handy book. What?
Don't read Archie or that comes in.
Well, so, why waste your time? Read something constructive. Right, so you have these 5 different categories. Yaakov, we'll finish it up. He's going to categorize these things. I want to reinforce this because, again, we're not used to these concepts and these ideas, but if we get an idea that you have these 5 different categories, so you can try and monitor yourself in terms of what you're saying and why and when and how.
All right, so I guess what my disconnect is we just went over 5 things. Now we're going over 5 things, and I'm calling them the same thing.
They're somewhat related. They're somewhat related, but it's a different type of categorization, right? Yeah.
But it's still 5 categories of
apparently,
speech.
yeah.
Okay,
right.
all right, I'm following you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yaakov, please.
הראשונים חילקו את הדיבור לחמישה חלקים. The Rishonim, the early stages, divided speech into 5 different categories. Dibur shel mitzvah, speech concerning a mitzvah. Kilimud HaTorah, such as learning Torah.
So meaning even though we originally made a category of divrei Torah, but it could be expanded to divrei mitzvah. Right, so it may not necessarily be about specifically in learning, but it may be concerning a certain mitzvah. Okay, that's number 1.
Dibur shel iser, I guess speech concerning something that is forbidden.
Right.
Kesheker, lashon hara, such as falsehood and lashon hara. Dibur ha'ahuv, speech that is beloved in some way. Kemusar the midot, such as like discipline or instruction and character attributes, character traits.
Right, the person's going to try and improve himself or improve other people, so that's divrei ahuv. It's beloved. That type of speech is beloved, because you're trying to help somebody in a real practical way.
So that's forbidden?
No, that's a 3rd category called divrei ahuv. It's sort of the words which are beloved.
Okay.
Dibur hamutar, kolomar divarim sheyesh behem tzorech v'toelet. So this is permitted speech, such as things that have a need or a purpose. So it's like a neutral category.
Right. Divrei hamutar. It's permissible to speak these words. Right. For example,
Ke'inyanei parnasa v'sha'ar tzarchav shel adam, such as topics related to earning a living and other needs of man. And the last category is Dibur ha-nemaas, Kalamar Divarim Betelim, She'en Behen called Tzorech v'Toelet, Kagon Mamama Ploni, Mama made Ploni. How did so and so die? Ve'ech ta'asher, or ta'osher, Almani the Kiyotze Bazeh. How did so and so get rich?
Right. Okay, so those things, they're simply to know those things, simple, you know, like that.
Is Alma a widow?
No,
I missed all those.
Yeah, I missed the last.
Okay, so the last category is divine nimas, despicable words, words which are despicable.
Despicable.
Right, nimas is something which is despicable, right? Koloma divine dictating, which words are, as we defined previously, divine dictating words have no constructive purpose,
Okay.
right? For example, how did so and so die? Meaning, like, you know, unless you're a doctor, unless you're, you know, someone who's involved with, you know.
It's like, who cares, right?
Yeah, right. Who cares? What's you know? How's that going to help anything? You know, what's the, you know, if again, like he, you know, he did something dangerous, he was a smoker or something like that. So, you know, it might be well as to tell people, right? But how did a person get rich? You know, this guy's he's in the shoe business, right? He's in the shoe business, and you're not even in business. So what do you care how he got rich? If you're asking him, you know, like maybe he has a nice concept or a nice marketing idea or something like that. So it has perhaps a purpose. That would be in the third category.
Which
right?
one is that?
This is the last category, divine nimas. Meaning, why is it? And we have to explain in a moment maybe why it's called nimas. Why it's despicable? Because here you have such a beautiful blessing of speech that HaKodesh Baruch Hu gave us all with, and you're like, you know, you're treating it with such disrespect that you're using it for nothing at all.
Okay, after mundane conversations, she'in, what is that? The next few words there?
Right, so that's the, so they had there the...
She'in bahem kol tzarik
Right,
tohela.
right, she'ein behem kol tzorach, but there's no constructive purpose in them at all.
Okay, no constructive purpose.
Right, she'ein kol tzorach, there's no need, but toelis, there's no goal or purpose in them. There's no need or purpose in them. No constructive purpose in them at all.
Okay.
So again, you can say, you can ask the same question, but if it has a constructive purpose, so you've changed it from one category to the next, right? It's not so much the content of the words; it's really the context of the words which is more important, right? Right. So here, so we're just applying this. We'll have to stop for this section, and we can go on to next year in a moment or two. But again, so when Yochanan. When Yossi ben Yochanan Yerushalyim was pointing out you shouldn't be tarbe isha sicha be'isha, that you shouldn't engage in excessive conversation with a woman, he's talking about the context, right? The context, like the content that could change the whole situation. So you have to focus on the context of what the conversation is going to be referring to.
What is the difference between Nivel Peh and Divine Potato?
Nivel Peh is asur. Nivel Peh is asur. Just like sheker or Russian horror, right? Or apikourses.
When people crack crude jokes.
That's the worst. The Gemara says a person who makes a lewd joke, he had a gezar din of 70 years for toiv, it gets ripped up, and he has a gezar din for 70 years of ban on him.
I'm in trouble.